Hello, 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 hello. Wings of Wisdom virtual viewing audience. We have Mr. Leroy McClure Jr. back once again on Wings of Wisdom. We're going to do a marathon with my only male expert for the month of April. We're going to dive deep today on attitude. And he's the author, and I'm let him give you his bio shortly, just briefly. I know our viewers been leaning in and they know a little about him, but if we have any newcomers, I want him to give his bio. But his last book that he put out, Life is Good, Post-Stroke. I am now better and not bitter. So Mr. Leroy McClure, lean in for our virtual viewing audience. Give them a snippet of your bio, and I want to dive deep on overcoming obstacles and adversities as you have done on your journey recovering from your stroke. The floor is yours, Mr. McClure.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Leroy McClure Jr. They call me Brother Leroy. I'm the founder and CEO of a public charter school called Focus Learning Academy and also AAA Academy. I'm an author of 3 books. My first book was called The Shot Doctor, Nothing But Net. Of course, that's athletics, basketball. Second book was Why Sammy Still Can't Read. That's academics. And then my last book is called Life is Good, Post-Stroke. I am now better, not bitter. That book I enjoyed writing more than any of them because, I was down a little bit, went through some adversity, and it was writing that book which was good therapy for helping me to come back. I just had what we call a minor setback for a major comeback.
Yes, Leroy, I know prior to your stroke, you emphasized on your clip that you didn't really believe in counselors, you didn't believe in psychiatrists, you didn't believe in this psychologist, but now Wings of Wisdom spotlight the experts. So I want to know your take now on the experts on counseling and how they helped you through your journey with your stroke.
Yes, well, historically, in my community, in the African American community, it was a sign of weakness if you received help from counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, all of those type of professionals. But I have learned recently when I went into rehab for 2 years, 1 month and 18 days, that I can do this by myself. I needed some help. I needed someone to help guide me with the small things, get rid of the things that was bugging me or stressing me out, things I couldn't control. But my counselor was a blessing in disguise for me. And now I do believe in counselors. I believe in psychiatrists. I believe in psychologists. I believe in all of them. There's a place for all of them.
Yes, it really is. And I'm realizing that also when I came out of the airline industry, which was my passion. And I really believe that was my purpose. I was a little girl sitting on the curb, watching the airplanes go by, traveling with my mother, climbing the ranks with AT&T. And I always wanted to be a flight attendant and see the world. And God gave me the desires of my heart. And then when COVID hit, it put me at a halt. And I remember Marilyn Monroe's words when she says, sometimes good things fall apart so that better things can fall together. So I knew that I needed experts to help me on the next journey of my life. COVID seemed like it was an adversity and obstacle for a lot of folks. So these experts help you when you're at a crossroad. And when you were at CNS, I know those experts help you when that one nurse told you you can walk. You went from wheelchair bound to millions of steps and now running for the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Give me a little history of that first step you took, and now I watched the clip where you're running now.
Well, it's one of those things where you have to be very careful about what you wish for. Um, I wanted to start walking. That was my main desire. That was my prayer. Lord, let me walk again. And it was painful. It was very painful because, I hadn't walked in 3 months, been in a wheelchair for 3 months. When during that time when I was building up my legs, I can be in the bed, lying down, sleep, and my legs are hurting, all types of pain. And I'm not even doing anything. But it was because of all the physical activities I had done that day. And now all of a sudden the leg is responding. But, I would take my Advil and say a prayer and say, Lord, if it's your will. And then one day, I felt like I could walk. I just felt like it was time to try. And many times it's a lack of fear because when you're an adult, you sometimes know too much. When you're a kid, you have no fear. And plus, think about it. When we were toddlers, 1, 2 years old, when we tried to walk, if we fell down, we didn't have very far to fall. But when you're an adult and you're trying to take a step out, first thing you think about, if I fall, man, I got a long ways to go. And so I had to get over that fear, took that one step, made it. And next thing you know, I was taking 10, 25, then I was 5,000. And now I've taken over 5 million steps.
Wow, over 5 million steps. And then you was running in the clip. So I love following your journey. It's just amazing, your attitude. And the book you wrote takes a deep dive on attitude. And it's just amazing. And biblical principles, Wings of Wisdom is built on biblical principles. And Romans, I love Romans, the 12th chapter, the first and second verse. And in that second verse is talk about renewing your mind. And that's really what you had to do, because a lot of times we operate on our old mind. And it tells us, all things must become new. You have to renew that mind. So give us a deep dive on renewing your mind, what you had to go through to overcome and take that one step to 5 million steps.
Well, oftentimes we are products of our environment. And whatever we're around, whatever we look at, whatever we have a tendency to be a part of, that's the way we think. And the Bible tells us, do not be conformed by the things of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. When I was in therapy, I needed to renew my mind. I needed to recognize this is something new. As much as I knew prior to my stroke, at that particular time, I didn't know anything anymore. I have a new mind. My mind has been worked on. I've had surgery. So I had to seek the Lord. And he made it very clear to me, Leroy, this may have surprised you, but it did not surprise me. You're still good. You need to be grateful that you're here still on top of earth instead of earth on top of you. And once I saw that, there was a reset. Okay, Leroy, you're here. Because 800,000 people a year have a stroke. 20%, which is 160,000 of them die. So I'm grateful that I'm still here on top of earth. Now, since I'm here on top of earth, I had other friends that are patient there at the rehab. They were in worse condition than I was in. So I need to quit focusing so much on the destination. When am I going to get out of here? When am I going to get well so I can go back to normal? And I decided to enjoy the journey. Leroy, let's focus on helping those people. Let the Lord use your personality. I love talking. I love speaking to people, making people speak to me even when they don't want to speak to me. I have a way of doing that. And by speaking to people and getting people to come out of uh, their shadow or whatever they were dealing with, I made them start acting better, become, displaying their personality. The Bible talks about love. You know, I believe uh, that love is a decision. You know, oftentimes we think it's an emotion, but it's a decision. It's a decision to rightfully and responsibly, compassionately seek the well being of another person. And when I would encourage people to get up or to move their hand, the next thing you know, they're looking for me because I was able to help them do something that they never would have done. So when I kept doing that on a regular basis, all of a sudden I started healing and getting better. So after a year, I'm doing presentations all over the clinic, and it was standing room only, and I was having fun. But not only was I having fun, I was helping my friends, and I was healing too. The Bible teaches us over in Proverbs 11:25, whoever refreshes others will be refreshed.
Yes, and it's so inspiring. You speak my language when you talk about the journey, enjoying the journey, whatever that may be. And then once you get to your destination, that's the time that you can have the celebration. So,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Virginia, it got to the point where I was getting close to leaving. I didn't want to leave. I was enjoying the journey so much. It's like, Leroy, it's in a couple more weeks you'll be leaving. Not me, I'm staying here. Because, I was receiving so much love and so much therapy all in the same place that I enjoyed it because I was giving out a lot of love. And, you know, um, I remember when I was a child, I think I was probably 13, 14. My dad took us to a trip to California to visit our cousin. We couldn't wait to get to San Diego, California. And after going about 100, 200 miles outside of Arkansas, here we are coming from Arkansas. First thing my brother and I would say is, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And so my dad decided to take a detour to the Grand Canyon. We went to the Grand Canyon. We enjoyed the Grand Canyon so much. We forgot about going to California. We weren't interested in going to California anymore. We enjoyed the Grand Canyon, and that's kind of where I saw my journey. In the beginning, I was focusing so much on getting well and getting home that once I changed my mindset, I focused on being a blessing to all of the friends that I had met, helping them recover because they didn't have the faith I have, nor the hope. Therefore, they needed some help. And during the journey, the Lord used me to be a blessing to them. And I still talk to them on a regular basis. We got a group chat of a few of us.
Wow. It's amazing. I was listening to Charles Swindoll, and he
Yes,
was speaking on a coach. The coach is Lou Holtz
yes,
on determining your attitude and the altitude of your attitude. That's how you actually survive. But he said the ability is what you is how you are capable of doing something. And
Yes.
then the motivation is actually determining what you're going to do, but your attitude is determines how you actually do it. So I thought that was really powerful because you're capable of doing something, and then you want to know how to do it, but you have to do it with a positive attitude.
Yes. And he's one of my favorite speaker, Chuck Swindoll. He also says that, when you look at life, life consists of 10% of what happens to you. And 90% of life is how you respond. What type of attitude are you going to take when you respond to what happens to you? And since I'm a positive person, I see the glass as always being half full. And I have control. I have choice. And the attitude is how I was able to develop hope. See, it has been said a man without hope can go 40 days. A man can go 40 days without food, 4 days without water, 4 minutes without air, but not 4 seconds without hope. And
Yeah.
when you have a positive attitude, you develop hope.
Yes, I have a real close friend, flight attendant friend. I've known her for 25 years, and her home just went up in flames last week. And she's alive. So I
Amen.
am so grateful that she's alive. But, you know, trying to keep that positive attitude, everything you built up in flames, it's overcoming that, knowing that you are still on top of earth and you still have another chance, but plowing through that, it takes some courage. And
Yes.
it's still a difficult situation. So how would you inspire her?
Well, first of all, that is challenging for anyone. It's challenging for even believers, it's challenging. And that's very unfortunate. The first thing I would do as a friend is pray for her. Okay? But at the end of the day, as Christians, we have to see it could have been worse. She could have been in the house when it was on fire. So she's still here. And we have to recognize all this stuff we have here, it's not going with us. When I go to heaven, I'm leaving my house, I'm leaving my cars, I'm leaving everything. And that was where I was when I had my stroke for 21 days when I was in neuro ICU. When some of the people, it got out, they did not look good for me. I didn't know it did not look good for me, but I found out later they were saying it did not look good for me. But think about it, 21 days in neuro ICU, not one day, not a weekend, but 21 days, 3 weeks. They were performing surgery on my brain. And so once I found that out, like, Lord, I just thank you, I'm still here. All this other stuff, I don't care about my house. I don't care about anybody. Right now, I'm just thankful that I am still here. Now, as I became stronger, as I started healing, then I started focusing on things that we focus on in life. But I was able to let go of everything. You talking about full surrender? We say we surrender everything to the Lord. Do you really? Do you really? You surrender a few things and then you hold on to some things. I didn't hold on to anything. That was the first time in my life I could say that I surrendered. everything.
Wow. Your attitude determines your altitude. I am so grateful. It almost sounds like you got joy. And say, I got joy when I think about what he's done for me.
I went from hope to dream and then to joy. Joy that the world didn't give me and the world can't take away from me. I'm talking about that joy that the Lord talking about, one of the fruits of the Spirit. You know, one of my goals when I went into rehab was to come out being more like Christ, to be able to show that I have love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, gentleness, kindness, self-control, and faithfulness. And I wrote that in my book. It was in the last chapter. I can say all of those things have improved because we all can do well when things aren't going. When things are great, you know, Martin Luther King says that the measure of a man is not where he stands during times of comfort and conveniences, but where does he stand during time of crisis and conflict?
Yes, that's powerful. Wings of Wisdom virtual viewing audience and listening audience. This is Mr. Leroy McClure. He's diving deep on the attitude that is really going to determine your altitude when you are going through challenges and you are going through adversities in your life, because as you live, they are going to come. They say you're either going through, one is coming out of it, or you're going to actually connect with one in the future as long as you keep living. So I want you to just drop one more last golden nugget for our virtual viewing audience on overcoming obstacles, overcoming adversities, and keeping that positive attitude, because that negativity seems like it's always there.
Well, you know, Virginia, over in James 1:2-4, it says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, of the various trials that you may encounter. The testing of your faith produces endurance. Endurance causes you to be more perfect, more mature, more complete, lacking in nothing. That's what I really feel I have experienced over the last 3 years.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, now's the time to share on your electronic toys the positive attitude that you have to continue to remain in during these challenging situations that may occur in your life. God is a good God, and He gives you the fruit of the Spirit. Leroy named each and every one of the fruit of the Spirit: the love, the joy, the peace that surpasses all understanding. If you just lean in and get to know the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, He would help you through all of your endeavors. I want to thank you for leaning in on Wings of Wisdom. And we are grateful that Leroy gave us words of wisdom. And we will see you and dive deep on our next academics. Academics is next. We're going to dive deep on that. We thank you, Mr. Leroy McClure Jr.
You're more than welcome.
We're grateful to have you on Wings of Wisdom once again.
You're more than welcome.